Welcome to the True Grime Stories podcast, where in every episode, we'll unravel a new mystery of cleaning business transformation from a grimy mess to a great success. Join me, your host, Jeannie Henderson, as together we dig up cleaning business secrets that you've been dying to know. Welcome to our next episode of True Grime Stories. We're so glad to have you here. This is a great place for you if you are in the residential cleaning industry or you're thinking about it. This podcast is made just for you to help you kind of navigate the scary grime scene that awaits you as you start your business or build your business. And we have a great guest for you today. It's my friend, Jesica Noftz. And she is from Medina, Ohio, right here in the Midwest with me, and owns Pedal Suite Cleaning Service. And we have been in cleaning business fundamentals for several years together. And I've learned a lot about her business, but I'm excited to hear more about how she built her great business that she has today. And as a matter of fact, Jesica has a team of over 30 people. So she has a pretty big size cleaning business as residential cleaning goes. And one of the things that really sets her apart is her dedication to cleaning for a reason. And Jesica has been very aggressive in offering a lot of services to cancer patients. She's been, very generous in that way, but then she also has done a lot to create awareness about the program and fundraising. So she's really making a difference. And in addition to that, she is an award-winning cleaning business owner in the state of Ohio, has won several awards, the Smart Business Growth Award and the Athena Young Professional Award. I know those are, not everybody gets those. So to get that, you really have to be doing something great. So welcome, Jesica. We're so glad to have you here today.
Thank you. I'm excited to be here.
Yeah, thank you. So tell us about how you got started in the cleaning business. Go way back. What year did you start?
2012. So
okay.
Yes, I'm in my 13th year of business right now. So yeah. So I have a financial planning insurance background. Mm-hmm. So I was in that industry when I decided to start my company, and I was selling insurance and financial things back mm-hmm. then, but and I was having my own house cleaned professionally on a regular basis. Uh-huh. So it was when I had my daughter. My daughter is 13, actually. Yeah. So it was like right after that. She's my second child. So shortly after that, I knew I wanted to start a business of some kind. I just wasn't sure what. I was running other people's businesses for them. Mm-hmm. And I got to that point where I was like, what am I doing? Why don't I do this for myself? Kind of thing. Mm-hmm. And I decided to start a cleaning business based on my experience that I was having in my own home, kind of with a lack of quality, from that we all know about, right?
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense.
Yeah, I was probably one of the most difficult clients, like looking back, of course, as soon as I started my own company, I see it very differently mm-hmm. now and then, and I'm like, wow, I was a real piece of work.
Oh my goodness. So, you had expectations, right?
Yes, exactly. So anyways, so I went out on a limb. I started the company. I knew I wasn't planning on cleaning homes myself forever. I was planning on building a business when I started. Mm-hmm. And pretty quickly into that, about 2 to 3 months in, I started hiring and kind of building that aspect of the business because I didn't want to be in the field myself forever. So
you did start though cleaning yourself.
I did
by yourself. Okay.
Yeah, by myself.
Yeah.
Yep, absolutely.
Yeah. And that's how a lot of us do. I think, and I'm sure you can attest to this, but it has been a great business for people who are looking for a new career. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I have seen that many times where people come out of a career that they've done for many years and they realize I'm building someone else's business. Why am I not out building something of my own? And I love that you were inspired by your own cleaner.
Right. Right. Exactly.
Or the lack of their ability, right? That,
yes.
Oh my gosh, I could probably do this better.
Right.
And you understood the demand and the desire. So yeah, that's great. I love that. So how long did you clean in the field?
It was ultimately a couple of years, not full time, but like by the time I actually got out of it, it was probably a couple of years.
Okay. All right. And so how did it go at first? What was it like when you first started in the cleaning business and you started hiring your team? How was
So
that
I mean, it was
going?
all good while I was doing it by myself. You have that,
Uh-huh.
not too many problems.
That employee shows up for work every day.
Right, exactly. Yes. So yeah, I don't really feel like I felt some of that until, I started building that team, for sure. And then that's where, I don't know, I think I was about 5 or 6 years in when I started using Cleaning for a Reason, like originally when I started my company. I'm not really sure. I can't remember where I saw Cleaning for a Reason, but I knew I wanted to give back to the community in some way. So that's why I signed up right away for that. And that's kind of where Debbie's name and CBF, started circulating for me. But it wasn't until I was a couple years in. And I think at that point I was really like, okay, I don't want to clean anymore. But I also knew something was broken, somewhere along the line. I heard a little bit about paying people on commission, paying them by the job. I'm like, how are people doing that? Because I was paying people hourly, and we were doing teams and hourly.
I was doing the same thing. So
Yeah.
I know. Yeah.
And it's funny because when you think about it, when I think about it now, it was almost like I blocked it out because it was so horrible.
Let's talk about that, because I have a feeling that some of the people who are listening are at that point, right? They're like, I'm trying to grow, but I can't figure out how to build a team. So would you say that was really your grime scene, that piece that you knew, like, there has to be a better way?
Yeah, definitely.
This is a painful process for me. What did that look like?
Yeah, I just remember, it was very painful, and I knew it wasn't working. And I am the kind of person where if something's not working, I want to fix it. I want a different result. I don't want to just keep doing the same thing I'm doing and hope for the best, so I knew I couldn't keep doing what I was doing. So I was on a mission to find a solution. And then I got on a call with Debbie. CBF did not exist then.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah, there was no CBF back then. So that was super cool. I mean, the conversation was very personal. I think it's when she just started, coaching people and doing this kind of thing. So it was pretty awesome. And yeah, I signed up right away. I got to go to her office. And a very small group of us went to her office.
Was that like Never Clean Again?
I think it was actually before that.
Oh my goodness. Wow. I guess I didn't realize that you went that far back with this program. That's amazing.
Yeah. Well, that's part of the story though. So it was amazing, and got me on track, helped me a ton. And then what started to happen is that I started to get involved in a couple other organizations and things where people weren't part of CBF, and they had different ways of doing things. And I was following the system really well for quite a few years. And then I kind of got off track. I kind of started listening to like, oh, is that really the best way to do this? There's another way to do it. And
look at this over here. Look at that over there. Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. And also my team, like, not following the system, but then telling me it's broken. But it's like, really, when you look into it, it's not broken. You're just not following it all the way, through and that kind of thing. So I realized that something was off. And during this time, Debbie was building CBF.
Okay. Yeah. So how big is your business at this point?
I feel like at that point I was close to 750,000.
Okay. How big of a team would you have had at that point?
I feel like with the cleaning techs and office, I don't know, somewhere between 10 and 15, maybe.
Okay. Yeah. That sounds about right.
Yeah. So I go to log into my portal one day and I can't get in my portal. It had been a while. And I was like, what's going on? So I sent an email and somebody was like, that's because everything has changed now. Now there's CBF. Debbie's doing this and Debbie's doing that. We've got to get you like re-enrolled and like all this stuff. So I'm pretty sure I went to a live. Okay. And then I saw Debbie and, we were talking for a little bit and then I kind of just got back on track at that point. I did meet with a coach at the time as well. And honestly, it was like what are you doing? You're not following the system. You're trying to change the system,
Mm-hmm.
So I got back on track.
When we're drifting, we don't really realize how we're drifting.
Right.
Because it's slow. It's a little bit and a little bit more and a little bit more. And then all of a sudden you're way off course, and it's hard to course correct then without somebody kind of pointing it out to you.
Yes.
Yeah. So what were some of the symptoms of being off course? Like, what were some of the things you were dealing with in your business?
Yeah, I'm trying to remember.
Yeah, we do kind of block that stuff out. It's kind of like childbirth,
Right.
I can't really remember how bad it was.
Yeah, I try not to. Yeah. I think I was just trying to recreate the wheel on a lot of things, and it's like the 5-day training, process, trying to make it too much of my own, thing, like, oh, because it's not working, so let's do this instead. And then it's like, no, let's just go back to the basics of what this was and stop recreating that wheel and see what happens if this is really, really being followed. I remember some things like that. Very basic, to be honest with you. But very quickly after that, I started hitting goals again and growth. I mean, that's shortly after that, when I got back to it, I hit 1 million.
Oh my goodness. That's very exciting.
Yes, it was super exciting. Yeah. Yeah.
So what was that one thing that you feel like put you, besides the fact that you plugged back into, your coaching program and, you were dialed in, what was like one of the strategies that you were able to implement that you feel like really fixed your, what was broken in your business at that time that helped you kind of move forward?
Yeah. The first time was definitely going from hourly employees to pay for performance, for sure. That was that was probably, if I had to give you one thing that changed my business, that was definitely probably the number one thing, to be honest. Yeah.
Well, and I think it'd be really great to kind of dive into that a little bit without giving your whole, plan away on how you pay. But a lot of people, I think, don't realize how hourly pay is working against them.
Right.
As a business owner. So you want to go into that? Like, what are some of the things that you saw when you were paying people hourly?
Yes. So, well, they're moving slow. You're wondering why this job is taking so long, like what's going on, that kind of stuff. I was sending teams. So then they're talking, that 2 people are going to undo a garage code instead of 1. And so they're chatting instead of working, and that kind of stuff. And I was shocked. I think I'm still shocked. If I sent 2 cleaners to a house for 4 hours, like 4 man hours, once I changed, that went down by an hour. The same house was being cleaned in like an hour less time, like with 1 cleaner. So 1 cleaner would be 3 hours versus 4 man hours is what it used to take hourly.
Right. Yeah. Isn't it amazing how much time it saves?
Yes.
And, hourly pay is a disincentive. It really is. It seems like it makes sense. And I think one of the things that held me back, and tell me if you felt this way too, is like, I felt like I would have a hard time complying with the law if I wasn't paying hourly.
Right. Right. No, me too. Yeah. You're nervous, very nervous. Like, I want to do the right thing. Yeah, no, absolutely. I would agree with that. Yep.
Yeah. Yep. Yeah. And it is like, well, how do I show that I'm like following the law if I'm not paying them, by the clocked hour? And there's a lot of things that go against us in that. It could be our payroll service, or our accountant is telling us you can't do it that way, or your attorney doesn't understand it, so they don't go along with it. So there's a lot of detractors when you're trying to go from hourly pay to some, kind of a commission plan.
Right. True.
Yeah. Well, this is one area where I think so many people in the cleaning business struggle. Whether they're using contractors or they're using employees, is the pay model, and how it can actually be working against you in such a big way. So I would like to dive deeper into this, but let's take a quick break and hear more about cleaning business fundamentals that has helped you so much.
Sounds good.
Is your cleaning business a grime story? There's no need to stay stuck in the muck because you're not alone. With over 500 active members and more than 500 graduates of our Cleaning Business Fundamentals program, CBF is the #1 cleaning business academy in the world and has created more mop-free millionaires than any program in the industry. Learn more and let CBF take your residential cleaning business from a grime story to a gleaming success. Welcome back, everyone, to True Grime Stories. We're here talking with Jesica with Pedal Suite Cleaning Service, who has shared with us her grime scene and how she started to find her way out of that through changing the way that she compensated her team members. And, you know, a lot goes into that. It's not just changing the way you pay, it's changing the way they clean, right? Teaching them how to be solo cleaners, all that kind of stuff. So when you started diving into that, I think one of the big things that holds people back is, how do I communicate with my team about that?
Mm-hmm. I believe I met one-on-one with each of them at the time. It was a one-on-one situation to explain it. And, you know, some of them were confused. I think that from what I recall, again, it was a long time ago, but I think we did lose some, you know, but it was okay. It was okay. We built that back very quickly because even advertising the pay structure is a game changer as well.
Yeah. And when you realize that probably those people that you lost are not the people that you needed to get to where you are today. But when you have the right pay structure and you can advertise that, it attracts an entirely different group of people, doesn't it?
Yes, it really does. Yeah.
Yeah. So what was like night and day, what you were seeing, like walking in from when you'd place an ad?
I mean, it was just a different, I don't know. I guess a different mentality. I don't know. I think the interview process even was less chaotic for some reason. You know, it just was better overall. The type of applicant, the mindset of the applicant, you know, going in, it was just different.
Yeah. And we've experienced that too. I think that it just makes such a huge difference when you have the right pay system in place.
Yeah.
And so how do you prepare your team to go from, you know, working on a team, working hourly to, you know, being solo and commission? Because that's really, it sounds like the thing that kind of fixed your grime scene.
Yeah. I mean, again, I think it was just really we laid it out really well with one-on-ones. And then obviously at the same time, changed all of our processes that we needed to for new hires, you know, as well. So then the new hires were pretty set to go, you know, it was a non-issue for them, you know, right. They were coming in ready to go on that. So I really think that's the bottom line. You had those conversations, and I was scared to death to have those conversations because, you know, you're taking a chance. You don't know what's going to happen at all. So, but it was okay. And like I said, it was really, I really think if I had to pick one thing, that was probably one of the best things that I ever did.
Well, and a lot of times I think people don't take action because of that fear that you talked about. Like they hear people talking about pay for performance, and there's a lot of different pay for performance models out there in the world. But a lot of people don't do it because they're like, they assume the cleaners won't like it.
Right.
They assume they're going to quit.
Yeah.
But what would you say your cleaners say about this?
Oh, now, I mean, they love it. Yeah, they absolutely love it. It's, there's no way. I mean, they make so much money, you know, and the other incentives that we, you know, throw in there besides their base pay, you know, as well. It's just so much for them to look forward to grow with the company. You know, they understand, like they have a clear path because of how we pay as well.
Right. And in our program in Cleaning Business Fundamentals, we call it empowered pay because it literally empowers people.
Right.
To kind of choose what they're going to make.
Right.
And so you know, it sounds like you probably made some big changes to your team as a result of that and have built this great team today. Yeah. So how many cleaning technicians do you have now?
I believe we're right around 27 right now.
Oh my goodness. That's a big business.
Yes.
And how many clients are you serving?
I think we're a little over 400.
Yeah, that's great. Wow. Congratulations to you and your team. That doesn't happen without intention.
Yes.
Have you, like, when you first started out, did you look at big businesses and think that, oh, they're lucky, or, oh, you know,
That's not, no.
no.
I probably did. I know what you're saying.
Yeah.
I'm definitely more of like, I know, I guess, or maybe I'm saying it now because I know now. I don't know.
Right.
But yeah, like the hard work that goes behind it is, it's so much hard work. So
yeah. And it is strategy,
Yeah.
I think, and you really went against the grain of the entire industry with what you did, because if you look out there and you look at other cleaning businesses out there, they're all following the same model of, teams of 2, hourly pay. I talked to somebody yesterday that they have a fleet of vehicles with a team your size.
I can't
that's
imagine.
a lot of cars.
Yeah. I cannot imagine. Yeah.
Yeah. And, people think that, well, that's how you build a successful cleaning business, because if you look around, that's how it's done. But, it's really paid off for you going against the grain, right?
Yes. Absolutely.
Yeah. Yep. Well, that's really inspiring, because I think a lot of people who do get into this business, and when you do start employing people, you want to provide great opportunity for people. So how has it changed your life? Going from where you were, you were selling insurance, financial services, to starting your cleaning business. That was a bit of a grimy mess at first, but now you've got it all cleaned up. How is your life today compared to when you first started out?
Yeah, very different. I definitely didn't have the goals that I have now. Even when I started out, I didn't think I would get to this large of a company. I don't even think it was on my radar to go there. And now it's very inspiring to me. My team, inspires me. My cleaning techs, I have a cleaning tech. There's a video on my website on our employment page just last year. She's been with me for 3 years. She's very young and she just bought a house. And she did this video for us because she said, there's no way I could have bought a house if I didn't work here for the last 3 years, So yeah. So it's so awesome. I want more of that. I want everybody to go buy a house.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. What a gift.
Yeah.
That is so wonderful. And that's what we have the opportunity to do as business owners. But when we're caught in the grind, sometimes we just can't see that. And I love how you mentioned that once you kind of got out of that, grimy mess, that it kind of opens your eyes to the possibilities of what you can create. And Jesica is very involved in cleaning business fundamentals at the highest level. And, so when you start, hanging around with people who are building these larger businesses, it helps you to realize what's possible.
Yes. Yep. Absolutely.
I love having several people ahead of me to be chasing on their coattails and learning from them to help me grow. So I have very similar feelings of like, wow, I never thought that our business would be the size that it is today.
Yeah.
And now you've been able to go on and have a lot of, your own personal impact too, not just within the lives of your people, but in your community. Are you originally from that area?
Yes, I am. Yep.
Oh, that's awesome. I love being in my hometown too. It's like building a business in your hometown and making a difference for people.
Yep.
Tell us a little bit, for those people who don't know about Cleaning for a Reason. I think that this is a really great opportunity to be with someone like you who's making such a big difference in the organization, to learn a little bit more about Cleaning for a Reason.
Yep.
And how it got started, how it, impacts your business, and, just all that it means to you.
Yep. So when I started the company 12 and a half years ago, however long ago it was, I knew I wanted a connection for charity, to do something, bigger within my company. And then I found Cleaning for a Reason, and I signed up right away. I was paying my monthly fee, or my donation, I should say. And so we just started. I think back then I probably was only cleaning 1 or 2 houses for free, on a monthly basis, until I grew big enough to expand that number. And so I was like, the more we can do, the more houses we can clean for free, the better. And how can we promote this? Who can we tell in our community that's going to help us promote this? So I've always been very good with connecting myself with other people in the community who are going to support this as well, to get the word out about what we do. And then from there, I just slowly, as I got more employees and as my company grew, I would contact Cleaning for a Reason and say, I need more houses to clean for free. Keep adding, keep making that number bigger, as far as the number of houses that I can take on. And somebody asked me recently, how many houses are you doing? And I was like, to be honest with you, I don't know, because it's not something I track really. It's like, I want to do as many as we can. So leave that wide open and tell the world about it, and we'll figure it out. If these people call us and they want a free cleaning. So,
And I think some people are hesitant because they're like, oh, well, I can't afford it. But it sounds like your business just makes room for it. And there's just always more room for it because you just keep growing along with your ability to serve.
Yes, correct. Yes. I think that's exactly what it is. But also a little tip from growth, which I learned from Debbie as well with Cleaning for a Reason. I use Cleaning for a Reason houses to leverage my schedule and to, to leverage when you have too many employees at one time, when you're overstaffed a little bit, to leverage that. We can clean, Cleaning for a Reason houses. We get them on the schedule, get some training done a little bit, with those houses and things like that. So, there's techniques that kind of offset if you're concerned about the cost, you think about the value of what that could also do for your business as you get to give back to the community at the same time.
Right. Yeah. It gives you houses to clean when maybe you don't have a house to clean that day for one of your team members, but it does so many good things at the same time, so I love it. And, Jesica is, very well recognized inside of Cleaning for a Reason for her dedication to the organization in fundraising, awareness, and service. And we'll all be celebrating that very soon here at CBF Live at the Cleaning for a Reason Gala. So I'm looking forward to that.
Me too.
Been shopping for my pink outfit.
I know. I got to find one.
I know. So much pressure. So all this being said, I mean, you've done so many great things with your cleaning business, from, changing the lives of your team members to changing the lives of cancer patients. It's just so touching and moving to watch that, and inspiring. And I'm sure anyone who's listening to you today is, like, if Jesica can do this, I can do this too.
Absolutely.
But what would be some advice that you have to someone who is like you? Maybe they're thinking about a second career, or, want to grow their business and they're stuck.
Yep. I would say, if you're in CBF, definitely go back to the basics, follow the system. If you're not in CBF, get in CBF and follow the system for sure. It's just life-changing. The other thing I would say is really get okay with being uncomfortable. I was really, really uncomfortable like a couple of weeks ago with just a situation that I was trying to get through with work related. And when you keep fighting being uncomfortable, it just makes it worse, and and then I'm sitting there and I'm thinking to myself, I asked for this. I wanted this. I wanted the challenge, so you just really have to dig into that and say, it's okay. It's okay that I feel uncomfortable. I'm going to figure this out, and you're going to get to the other side. And it's going to be worth it. So there's that. And then I always, when I am having a tough situation and in business, and I learned this early on in business, I think I let stress get the best of me a little bit back then. Yeah. And I learned to ask myself, what is the worst thing that can happen in this situation? What's the worst thing that can happen? Let's deal with it right now in my head. What is it? And then you figure out whatever that is, and then ask yourself, okay, so what do I have in place? If that worst case scenario situation happened, do I have all the insurance that I need? Do I have workers' comp set up? Do I have an attorney on a retainer, so I can call right away if I need that help? Because you're planning for a worst case scenario that is probably not going to happen anyways. But at least if it does happen, then you're prepared. And it takes the stress away in that situation. So I would definitely say that.
That is great advice, because I think we as human beings always go to worst case scenario.
Yeah.
Right. And but if you realize how prepared you are and that you have survived 100% of the things that happened to you prior to that, that you have the tools that you need to get through it. Oh my gosh, that's so good. Thank you, Jessica, for that, and for sharing your experience in the cleaning industry, because there are so many people like you who they're ready to do something else. And the residential cleaning industry is a great place to be. And you get to hang out with amazing people like Jessica and get inspired by them. I'm fortunate to be able to do that. So thank you for being part of True Grime Stories today. We really appreciate it.
Thank you. It's awesome to be here.
And I want to thank everyone who's listening today. I hope you found Jessica's story as inspiring as I did. If you'd like to know more about cleaning business fundamentals and, of course, about cleaning for a reason, we'll have some links in our show notes for you so you can learn more about that. Plus, you can always reach out to me. There's a link to set up a call if you want to know any more about either of those things. I'd love to talk with you about that. But we thank you for being part of True Grime Stories. Make sure to subscribe, download, and share this with your friends. And we'll see you soon, Jessica. Thank you so much.
Yeah, thank you.
That's a wrap on today's True Grime Stories. Thanks for joining us in uncovering the secrets of cleaning business success. Don't forget to subscribe, share, and download, and check out our show notes for links and info from today's episode, and to learn more about our sponsor, Cleaning Business Fundamentals. Join us next time as we solve another True Grime story.